Okay, guys, welcome to another 90 Day Fiance recap chat. This time we're talking about the Before the 90 Days Tell All. This is part 3. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples. One's from the US, the other person's from another country. We follow their relationship issues, struggles, the long distances, the culture barriers, the language boundaries, and trying to get married in another country, all of the different legal ramifications and things that you have to figure out, the finance, all of that. It's 90 Day Fiance. And again, this spin-off is Before the 90 Days. And at this point, we're at the Tell All Part 3. And I'm happy to report that it's only an hour. But it goes into the next hour is a Pillow Talk watch party specials. For those that don't know, Pillow Talk is other cast members are hanging with their friends or their spouse and watching the tell-all, and then you get to hear their feedback and their thoughts as they're watching it in that moment. It's a lot of fun. I really do like the Pillow Talk episodes. I consider them somewhat companions to the actual episodes, and they're an hour as well. So the first hour is the actual tell-all. The second hour is the Pillow Talk version watch party. And two of the castmates are actually going to break into the watch party or crash the watch party. So as they're watching the tell-all, two people from the tell-all are actually going to show up and surprise them. So that's fun. I don't have anything to report on that, but just want you guys to know that that's what happens with the companion piece, the Pillow Talk, if you do want to check it out on your own. All right, let's start off with Adnan and Niles. Last off, there was a standoff between the two of them. It looks like there was going to be an escalated fight, but the security stepped in and nothing happened between the two. I am thankful to say. I know people like to see a fight, but I don't like to see people beat each other up, honestly. And I don't want anybody to look like the bad guy, especially Niles, because I really think Niles is a stand-up guy. He has autism. Adnan, he's very annoying, and I just don't want him to get one over on anybody. So, as I'm happy that the fight was stopped by security. Now, Vanya, after she sees what goes down between the two, the fight was about to start up. She said, don't even give Adnan your energy. He doesn't deserve it. I wouldn't even give him that much time. And yes, Vanya, I agree. Now we get back on set. Bojo and Yoshiko and Vanya are all on set together. They're cordial with each other. And, it's... I see no animosity between them because technically only one got to be with her. The other one didn't want to be with her. So they were okay with each other on set. I didn't hear really shots fired between them during this confrontation. So they never met each other. But Yoshiko says a lot of positive things about Vanya. He says she's a true gem. He doesn't understand why Bojo changed his feelings and turned his feelings off right when she showed up to his country. So he was really standing up for her, but Yoshiko kind of showed his back end, so to speak, as we get deeper into the conversation of what happened and how things ended and all of that. And though Yoshiko had beautiful things to say about Vanya, they're not together. So, the last we saw on the actual show, they weren't together. They broke up, and it's still in that same state. When it comes to those two, some scenarios came out. They showed her talking to her cousin, Sanella, and she is telling her basically she's upset, saying, things always end up this way. And Yoshiko said he didn't think she would be a good mom because she really wasn't used to kids, and really it seemed like a lot for her to try to get used to the idea. Though she claims that she was trying to set a room up for the kid and all of that stuff. But as they come back to Yoshiko's reaction to what she said, he said, and Niles and also said that he moved a little fast. He said Bojo and Niles, I'm sorry, Bojo and Yoshiko are the opposite. Bojo was too slow and Yoshiko was too fast, but she's like, no, we didn't do anything when I was in Croatia, but when he came to Florida, we did, and all of this. Then they get into the fact that I don't know why Yoshiko had to start revealing their private information, but he was saying, I think Sean asked him how was it when they first were intimate with each other, because they kind of tried to build a relationship first, and she said it was amazing because she really cared about him and all that, and he said, they only had done things in two positions, and I guess he was bored by that, and he also said maybe he was too large for her or she was too small for him, and that was an issue. And she's like, oh, thanks for like putting out all of our private personal business. That really was not cool. I mean, he gave a little bit too much tea, too much information. I'm glad that she kind of can see the type of guy that he was and he is, but it did make it more entertaining that we got all those details. I'm not gonna lie, and he really kept, giving her a glowing recommendation of the type of person she was. But yeah, to me that was upsetting, and I guess he was in a way implicating that she was boring and it was not enough for him. And maybe they technically weren't physically compatible when it comes to that, and a lot of people don't talk about that. But I know there was another couple in the previous 90-day universe where that was an issue with them as well, as far as size differences and body differences when being intimate with each other. And people don't really talk about that much. I think that's something you really should talk about. But he didn't say that's the reason why. And as she was getting upset, he was like, he thought he enjoyed it, but it was too late, dude. The cat's out of the bag. So she's like, okay, well, if you're gonna tell that, then I'm going to tell that you were filming me without my permission. And he was like, hey, we were kind of talking about it beforehand, so I thought I'd just do it. But she said, while they were intimate, he filmed her and she never gave him the okay. So he showed her after the fact, and then they were like, did you delete it, and is it out on the web and all that stuff? So now stood up for, even Adnan stood up and kind of teamed up together. I believe that she did go back to Croatia after this whole breakup, and I think she was hopeful that they were going to be able to get back together. She said they had fun, they went to the beach, but nothing happened as far as them getting back in a couple. But they did kiss, kind of have a make-out session. And Niles basically accused him that, hey, he really just met her again just so he could possibly sleep with her again. And then Adnan chimed in with whatever his thoughts were. He did apologize, because I think Sean said, I'm sorry that this happened to you. And he did that without your permission as far as filming you. And Adnan was like, yes, we're sorry. And I'm like, Adnan's being so nice right now. I'm confused. Adnan gives me I get annoyed by him, and he says some messed up things and some negative things, and then the next second he's nice. So he's kind of giving me a little bit of two-sidedness going on, and I don't know whether to love or hate this kid. Love is very far from me, because his annoyance level is so much higher than his cool level. But it was kind of fun to see Niles and Adnan kind of team up against Yoshiko. But Yoshiko continued to try to act like he was a good guy, and Sean gave him the opportunity to formally apologize, and he did so. And then after Niles made that comment about he just wanted to sleep with her, or try to sleep with her after he met up with her again after the breakup, he's like, well, have some respect. And Niles kind of blew up and said, well, you need to have some respect. So yeah, that was kind of a fun little team up they had there, because they both give me similar vibes. They're both the most outspoken of this tell-all. Everyone else to me is kind of quiet. Brian comes in a little bit. Lauren's quiet unless it's his story being told and he tries to defend himself. So everybody else isn't doing too much. And then Vanya. So I think Vanya, Adnan, and Niles are the most outspoken of everyone on the cast at this point as far as everybody's relationship goes. But as annoying as Adnan can be, he's making the show actually more interesting as well as Niles. And so I'm here for it. And now Vanya kind of, breaks down and starts crying. It's like, that's why I've been single and celibate for all this time, because this is the type of thing that happens to me. And when I give myself to someone and I'm intimate with someone, it's a big deal for me. I think it should be a big deal for everyone, but there are a lot of people, maybe it's not such a big deal anymore in this day and age. But even though she was emotional and wears her heart on her sleeve, which I appreciate, I feel like it does affect people. Maybe they just don't say so much about it, but it really does affect you when you give yourself to somebody. And, this is what the aftermath comes out to be. In your relationship just don't work. They just don't last. But I commend her for trying to be celibate and trying to find a positive relationship for the last 6 years. Yoshiko was the one that really finally ended things, because she wanted to actually meet up with him again while she was in Croatia after their breakup and after their little makeout session. But he ended up saying, because they were starting to get physical, he was attracted to her, that he did not want to continue to pursue it because he knew that their relationship wasn't going to be a relationship. And the cousin Sanella was like, well, how do you feel about her? Is there still something there? And he was like, I'm physically attracted to her. She's like, well, do you love her? It's like, no, at this time, no, I don't love her. And that's basically kind of why he broke things off. As scummy as some of the things that he did was, I do have a little bit of respect for him as far as the way that he spoke about her. He said he didn't intend for things to go this way. I guess he said he walked into it, hopeful, and he wasn't trying to just use her for her body and play her like that. As her cousin said, you just kind of used her and threw her away like she was a piece of something, But he was like, that wasn't my intention. I wasn't trying to use her. Things just didn't work out the way that we anticipated. And Vanya's just kind of tired of the heartbreak and all that stuff. Sis, many of us ladies can understand. There are many of us ladies also living celibate, abstinent lifestyles as well. And honestly, your story is a cautionary tale for us to probably just keep on doing what we're doing until God puts the right person into our lives. And then Brian starts asking her, ask yourself why you're still, your relationships don't work and all of that. And then he was like, I'm not trying to put you down, because she's like, I'm happy with myself as a person. I don't feel like I did anything in particular to deserve this. I'm just not really meeting the right people. And I kind of came to that conclusion myself with my life, because I do feel like a lot of people assume that, oh, you're doing something wrong, you're the problem. I'll say maybe we could be putting ourselves in places and meeting people that aren't the best people for us. And maybe that's the thing that we're doing wrong. Maybe we're not positioning ourselves in the right places. But as far as who we are as our character, we're doing the best we can. And everybody has flaws and issues, and we all need to learn from that and learn from each other. But basically, if you want to be with somebody, they're not going to be perfect. They're going to have flaws. You just show up for them because you want to and you want that. And that's what a relationship is. And if you don't, you don't. That's just the bottom line. So I've seen people that are really messy have long-term relationships with people that are also really messy. And they have this messy lifestyle together that they chose to do because they choose to show up for each other. Messy, very messy, or not messy. They showed up for each other. And that's why they're still together. That doesn't always work. And I honestly don't want to be on the other side with the messy person. I can't say that I don't have any mess, but there are some that are messier that I just, for me, I don't have the patience for. And I don't think that I should have to put up with and contend for that as well. I think I deserve a decent person, not asking for the world, and I don't think Vanya is either. So, I connect with her and her story on that level. And there are times where I do feel like, she was saying a little bit too much, and the tell all was in everybody's business. But honestly, Niles and Adnan were doing it worse. So, um, I think Vanya, she's kind of my girl. I'm kind of cool with her. Um, Niles kind of chimes in and says, I've also felt the same way, that I kept getting into bad relationships as well. So it's not just a Vanya thing. He says he just met Matilda and things changed. So, again, like Vanya's saying, you kind of just have to meet the right person, right time, right place, and all these things have to connect. And for some people, that doesn't happen for a long time. For some people, that doesn't happen. I mean, we have to be honest. That's the reality. Then we get to Vea, Sunny, and Rory, the throuple that should never be. Rory comes on screen now, and they kind of confront him, and he's like, "Hey, I was just there to look out for her. I don't have any designs on her. I don't want her in that way." Adnan's like, "Why did you guys break up?" Basically, because it just didn't work out, and we'll be better off as friends. And Vea does blame herself that she wasn't upfront with him, but she doesn't regret the fact she brought Rory because she was trying to have protection. Niles and Adnan, they kind of like threw everything on Vea and said basically it's her fault. You want two men? What are you trying to do? Why'd you put them in this position? And she was kind of defending herself and whatnot, but then she did admit again that she should have just been honest up front, saying that Rory was there to support her and be there with her. And Joe kind of chimed in a little bit. But Joe and Magda have not really said much. I don't know what their deal is. I'm a little bit bored because they're not, with them, because they're not really giving me much. But I think some more is going to be coming as we get into, I think, this last installment of the Tell All. And basically, they're supposed to be cool with Rory now because she said, she showed Sunny that Rory's not an issue, he's not the problem. And then they kind of talked about how Rory did kind of laugh at Sunny's socials because he was taking too many selfies of himself, and most guys don't really take a lot of selfies of themselves. And says, I love pictures and I love to document my memories. I'm like, yes, I agree with you too, Sunny. I love to take pictures. I probably take too many pictures. And yeah, I like it. And also, I think some people think they're hot when they take a lot of pictures, but that's not always true. I've taken like a lot of selfies that some of them are trash, but I delete them. The ones that come out bad, I delete. As far as posting, I don't post every selfie, and there are times where I don't post every event either. I might take the picture and I'm like, you know what? There's really no need to post this. But hey, enough about the selfie talk. Let's get into our next couple. All right, Lauren and Faith. And Esther, his ex/friend, returned to the set. And they kind of get into that situation, that scenario when Lauren was caught flirting with someone, and they showed like the playback from that. And he explained that he wasn't really flirting, it was a young lady trying to talk with him. They were at a drag club, so first it was a misconception that he was flirting with someone that was dressed in drag, but no, it was someone approaching him is what he said, and that they were just a young person, an 18-year-old, too young. Plus, he was with Faith, his beautiful girlfriend, is what he said. But I think he had touched the young lady's face or something, which gave the look that he was trying to come on to her, but he was supposedly trying to let her down easy, and this is how he was doing it. And I have to say, Niles and Adnan were trying to pour it on kind of hard against Lauren, basically saying he wasn't a man, and that this wasn't going to work, and that Faith needs a man and wants a man. That's what Adnan was saying. And he just kept saying, I am a man, but then he explained he only had one testicle, which we didn't need to know that information. Lauren is kind of a goofy type of person, really. Um, and then Anna was saying, stop crying over Lauren because, tears started coming up because of the whole thing of, was he talking to someone else? He's not a man. And why do you have to put up with him? And Adnan's like, he's not a diamond. You're trying to cry over this person. They're not worth crying for, right? Which I totally get and kind of agree with Adnan, but I feel like they kind of be a little bit hard on Lauren, and he doesn't really take up for himself. So that's why his friend Esther was like, you guys are closed-minded, you guys are negative, and you're really like attacking him and all of that. And I was kind of agreeing with Esther, but I do agree that Lauren, a little bit like to me, Brian had too many different issues to come up back to back, and he's not really a good boyfriend, a good partner, a good mate, and he has work he needs to do on his life before he tries to show up in anyone else's life. So Sean's like asking Faith, so are you going to continue on this relationship? Does this seem like a feasible thing that you guys are trying to do? Is he said he was trying to marry Faith in Thailand because Faith is transsexual and you can only they consider it same-sex marriage, so we could only do it in certain places. But I thought Thailand, they couldn't do it there. I thought the attorney said Taiwan. So I thought that was a little bit confusing as far as this location. And then Faith was like, I don't recall, we were supposed to go on vacation, but I don't recall him talking about getting married. So that became a whole confusing thing. And then that's when Sean was like, well, do you feel like this even is a feasible thing that you guys, your relationship, do you think this is going to work? And she was like, I'm not sure. I love this person, and we have had some struggles or whatnot, but I'll still have to think about it. And then, I think some other castmates were saying, well, you need to just be straight up. And even Esther, his ex, was like, you need to just be straightforward and just tell us how do you feel, and do you want to continue this relationship? Just tell it straight. So after pulling teeth a few times, Faith finds like no, basically ending the relationship right there. That's what it looked like. So that's how this tell-all episode ended. We get into pillow talk, and I'm not going to get too deep into pillow talk, but just lightly say I kind of don't like the way Tim treats Niles and even Veronica. Like, they both have their thoughts and ideas saying Niles is, doing too much and he's a bully or whatnot. I don't fully think they understand where he's coming from because he is blunt and he has autism. So I kind of don't like the way Tim especially was giving off negative vibes to Niles as they pop in and surprise them watching the tell-all. So Niles and Vanya were both the surprise guests there at the tell-all watch party. So if you want to check that out, you can do so. But that's just a little bit of my final thoughts and my thoughts on the little pillow talk episode that came on right after that. So, and yeah, Vanya, they kind of were, a lot was said about Vanya, so they were kind of had a lot to say about her, but all in all, they were showing her love during that episode, the pillow talk episode that came on after that. So just a little bonus taste of something extra that happened in that episode. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys liked the episode as you watched. What are your thoughts, comments, questions? You can always email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. We'll talk more again next time. All the best and God bless. This is Irene.